Hello, welcome to Quiz Time. I'm Jess and today I have 100 general knowledge questions for you. So, thinking caps on and let's go. Which movie has Cher Horowitz as Jane Austen's Emma in the 1990s? Easy A, A Walk to Remember, or Clueless? Clueless. Which US president quit as a result of the Watergate affair in 1974? Lyndon Johnson, Richard Nixon, or Gerald Ford? Richard Nixon. Which movie from the 1970s had the biggest box office take? Star Wars, Jaws, or The Exorcist? It was Star Wars. The FIFA Women's World Cup 2023 was co-hosted by which nations? Japan and Korea, Spain and France, or Australia and New Zealand? It was Australia and New Zealand. Which of these movies depicts life as being like a box of chocolates? Titanic, The Shawshank Redemption, or Forrest Gump? Forrest Gump. Which well-known accessory for fashion was created in the 1970s? The couple ring, piercing, or the mood ring? The mood ring. Did you have one? Have you got one? In 1973, which band released the well-known album Dark Side of the Moon? Metallica, The Beatles, or Pink Floyd? Pink Floyd. In 2023, which vulnerable company marked its 100th birthday? Disney, McDonald's, or Coca-Cola? Disney. Which movie goes well with a great Chianti and fava beans? The Green Mile, The Silence of the Lambs, or Seven? The Silence of the Lambs. Which classic arcade game with little yellow figure came first out in 1978? Pinball, Galaga, or Pac-Man? Pac-Man. Which nightclub in New York City came to represent the disco era? Studio 54, Paradise Garage, or Privy DJ? Studio 54. Which nation was predicted to overtake China as the world's most populated? India, Russia, or the US? India. Which iconic World War II film is nearly entirely shot in black and white? Schindler's List, The Pianist, or Jacob the Liar? Schindler's List. Which nation hosted the Summer Olympics in '76? Russia, Japan, or Canada? It's Canada. In The Godfather, who portrayed Don Corleone? Marlon Brando, Robert De Niro, or Al Pacino? Marlon Brando. Which television programme from the 1970s made Dynamite popular? Good Times, The Odd Couple, or The Brady Bunch? Good Times. What item was named 1982's Man of the Year by Time magazine? The Walkman, the computer, or the Slinky? The computer. That which spaceship touched down on the moon for the first time in 1972? Apollo 15, Apollo 16, or Apollo 17? Apollo 17. Who was the legendary Son of Sam serial killer that was active in the 1970s? Ted Bundy, David Berkowitz, or Coral Eugene Watts? David Berkowitz. Who directed the film A Beautiful Mind? Ridley Scott, Peter Jackson, or Ron Howard? Ridley Scott. What year was the Chernobyl disaster? 1986, 1988, or 1987? One of those ones I'm sure you remember where you were when you heard it. 1986. I'd just come back from brownies. Which group performed the well-known song Stairway to Heaven? Led Zeppelin, Queen, or the Bee Gees? It's Led Zeppelin. Which nation switched to the decimal currency system in 1971? The UK, Germany, or España, Spain? It was the UK. In 1987, what television programme made a brief appearance in The Simpsons? Alf, The Tracy Ullman Show, or Saturday Night Live? It was The Tracy Ullman Show. Who was the director of the 1975 motion picture Jaws? Stanley Kubrick, Martin Scorsese, or Steven Spielberg? Steven Spielberg. Which well-known actor and martial artist starred in Enter the Dragon? Bruce Lee, Jet Li, or Jackie Chan? Bruce Lee. Where in the United States is the TV comedy The Big Bang Theory set? Texas, Florida, or California? California. Which nation experienced a meteor strike in February 2013? Russia, Japan, or the US? It was Russia. Which actor played James Bond in the motion picture Live and Let Die from 1973? George Lazenby, Roger Moore, or Timothy Dalton? Do you have a favourite Bond? Roger Moore. Which rock group from the 1970s was renowned for their face paint? The Doors, Deep Purple, or Kiss? Kiss. Which nation did AC/DC come from? Australia, the UK or Canada? Australia. Which company's CEO, Tim Cook, joined in 2011? Facebook, Google or Apple? That's Apple. What was the name of the British-French supersonic commercial aircraft that flew between 1976 and 2003? Convair Hustler, Concorde or Tupolev Tu-144? Of course, the Concorde. Write in the comments if any of you ever got to fly on it. Who became the new Pope in 2005? Benedict, Jean-Paul or Francis? Benedict XVI. Which European city had a city destroyed in 1989? Paris, Barcelona or Berlin? That was Berlin. Who was the top scorer in the NBA during the 1970s? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Elvin Hayes or Bob Lanier? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Charles Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities is set in London and which other city? Berlin, Paris or Prague? It's Paris. True or false? The original iPhone came out in 2000. It's false. It was actually 2007. Who was the first British person in space in 1991? Tim Peake, Megan Christian or Helen Sharman? It was Helen Sharman. Which significant worldwide event of the 1970s set off the current economic crisis? The 1973 oil crisis, stagflation or the Vietnam War? The 1973 oil crisis. Which city fell victim to an ISIS attack in November 2015? Paris, Rome or Madrid? It was Paris. Which well-known music video channel debuted in 1981? NPR Music, MTV or VH1? It was MTV. I remember how magical it was. So many channels now. Which year did Britney Spears release Baby One More Time, her debut single? 1998, 1999 or 2000? 1999. Who was the 2012 Person of the Year recipient from Time magazine? Mark Zuckerberg, Steve Jobs or Barack Obama? Steve Jobs. Which well-known space shuttle burst apart soon after launch in 1986? Challenger, Atlantis or Endeavour? Another one, you know where you were. Challenger. Which year was the death of Japan's Emperor Hirohito? 1989, 1988 or 1987? 1989. In 1985, dubbed the Super Bowl Shuffle year, who prevailed in the Super Bowl? England Patriots, Miami Dolphins, or Chicago Bears? Chicago Bears. Which nation saw shipyard workers in Gdańsk go on strike in 1980? Poland, Czech Republic, or Belarus? Poland. Which company's oil rig ruptured in 2010 and produced an oil disaster in the Gulf of Mexico? BP, Total Energies, or Chevron? It was BP. How many miners from Chile were stuck underground for a record 69 days in 2010? 100, 33, or 56? 33. Remembering all these iconic moments, you're halfway there. In the 1976 movie Rocky, whose well-known American actor starred? Christopher Walken, Jean-Claude Van Damme, or Sylvester Stallone? Sylvester Stallone. Which iconic phrase was created by Nike in 1988? You can do it, just do it, or do it? It's just do it. For Best Picture, which 90s animated picture received the first nomination? Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, or Pocahontas? Beauty and the Beast. Who was the 2000 best-selling artist? Alicia Keys, Outkast, or Eminem? Eminem. Which former Prime Minister of Great Britain died in 2013? Tony Blair, Margaret Thatcher, or James Callaghan? It was the Iron Lady, Margaret Thatcher. Were you a fan? Which revolution in 1979 resulted in Iran's creation of an Islamic Republic? The Iranian Revolution, the Green Revolution, or the New Revolution? The Iranian Revolution. Who is the actor who stars in the Indiana Jones films? Bruce Willis, Kevin Spacey, or Harrison Ford? Harrison Ford. In 1998, who made history as the oldest astronaut in space? William Shepard, John Glenn, or Thomas Akers? John Glenn. In 2002, who took home the FIFA World Cup? Germany, Spain, or Brazil? Brazil. Name the nation where Pope Francis was born after his election in 2013. Italy, Argentina, or France? Argentina. Which well-known American actress acted in the 1973 motion picture The Exorcist? Glenda Jackson, Ellen Burstyn, or Linda Blair? Linda Blair. What year was the wedding between Lady Diana and and Prince Charles, 1980, 1981 or 1982? Do you remember watching it? Are you a royalist? 1981. Which console sold the most in the 1990s? Super Classic, NES Classic Edition, Nintendo or Sony PlayStation? Sony PlayStation. Which abbreviation was used to refer to the year 2000? Y2K, K2Y or YK2? It was Y2K. What was the average gas price back in 1970? 50 cents per gallon, 20 cents per gallon, or 36 cents per gallon? Obviously in the US we're talking about. 36 cents per gallon. What was the 1977 release name of the first home computer? Apple II, Pentium, or Commodore 64? It was the Apple II. Now, I had a Commodore 64, so I must have been a later one. By what company was the first camcorder released in 1983? LG, Sony, or Samsung? It was Sony. Which politician performed on the Arsenio Hall show with a saxophone? Bill Clinton, George Bush, or Tony Blair? Bill Clinton. Who was the Pope between 1978 and 2006? John Paul I, John Paul II, or St. Paul VI? St. John Paul II. Which nation held the Summer Olympics in 2008? Japan, Thailand, or China? It was China. Which 1996 film starred Looney Tunes and Michael Jordan? Phenomenon, Space Jam, or Hard 8? Space Jam. Which NFL club has the most victories in the 1980s Super Bowl? 49ers, Philadelphia Eagles, or New York Jets? '49ers. Which significant sporting event did Montreal, Canada host in 1976? Winter Olympics, Summer Olympics, or the Olympic Games? The Summer Olympics. In 1983, French scientist Dr. Luc Montagnier discovered which virus? HIV, mumps virus, or hepatitis B virus? It was the HIV virus. Which widely used website launched in 1998? Yahoo, Google, or Apple? Google. Who was the author of the 2007 ended Harry Potter series? J.K. Rowling. Which state has the highest proportion of residents 65 and older, other than Florida? Georgia, Vermont, or Maine? It's Maine. Which social networking site which was established in 2006? Twitter, Tumblr, or Facebook? It was Twitter, or X I think it's called now. Which well-known 1980s television programme included Kit, a talking car, Power Rangers Time Force, Knight Rider, or Airwolf? Ah yes, Knight Rider, a classic Saturday night TV here in the UK. When the first digital watch was released in 1972, what was its name? Casio, the Pulsar, or Nixon? The Pulsar. Which space shuttle mission was the last one to depart in 2011? STS-135, STS-136, or STS-137? STS-135. Who was the author of the novel Interview with the Vampire? Toni Morrison, Robert Persing, or Anne Rice? Anne Rice. Which band did Slash and Axl Rose form back in 1986? Guns N' Roses, Aerosmith, or Metallica? Guns N' Roses, a childhood favourite of mine. Which well-known reality TV programme starring Donald Trump had its CBS debut in 2000? The Apprentice, Celebrity Cooks, or This Hour Has 22 Minutes? The Apprentice. And we have Alan Sugar, who hosts the British version. Regarding the X-Files, who portrayed Agent Fox Mulder on television? Mitch Peleggo, William B. Davis, or David Duchovny? David Duchovny. In the 1980s, who gained notoriety for his inspirational phrase, "Just say no to drugs"? Belinda Carlisle, Ronald Reagan, or Pee Wee Herman? Ronald Reagan. Which world-famous business leader stepped down to focus on his charity work? George Soros, Bill Gates, or Stephen Jobs? George Soros. Which Russian spacecraft spent the 1990s in Earth's orbit? Arax, Mason, or Mir? Mir. Which bodily part was created with a 3D printer at Cornell University? An ear, a heart, or a nose? An ear. Which year did Apple release the iPod? 2001, 2010, or 1015? 2001. What made the 414 gang notorious in the 1980s? Killing people, bank robbery, or computer hacking? Computer hacking. Which London street is most frequently connected to 1960s fashion? The Mall, Carnaby Street, or Abbey Road? Carnaby Street. Which decade saw the rise in popularity of leotards and dancewear? The 1970s, 80s or 90s? Oh yes, the 80s, those and leg warmers. Who did Saddam Hussein take over from when he came to power? Hassan al-Bakr, Abdul Salam Arif or Hardan al-Tikriti? Hassan al-Bakr. Which nation launched its first satellite in '75 with assistance from the USSR? Russia, the US or India? India. Who was the first person to sail a balloon around the globe on their own? Steve Fossett, Joseph Michael Montgolfier or Jean-Francis Pilate de Rosière? Steve Fossett. In 2012, which social media site went public on the stock exchange? Instagram, Snapchat or Facebook? Facebook. Which island in the Mediterranean experienced a severe banking crisis in 2012 to 2013? Sardinia, Cyprus or Crete? Yes, it was Cyprus. Which uncommon occurrence took place in January 1977 in Miami, Florida? An earthquake, a tsunami or snow? It was snow. Often in the news in the early 1997, who or what was Hale-Bopp? Typhon, comet or an actress? It was a comet. I hope you had fun. How was your general knowledge today? Drop your score in the comments below and please like and subscribe so you get notified every time we post a new quiz. And please join us next time on Quiz Time.